Think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyoncé, who was struggling.
Beyonce's Instagram account is the most unfollowed account on Instagram for the past week, and we all know why. Initially, she only lost 4 million followers to Equal 316, but we woke up today and she was at
Well, happy holidays. P. Diddy had a mental breakdown in prison, and Beyoncé is heartbroken after the judge sides with Jay-Z's 13-year-old accuser.
Stop scrolling because the internet just whispered a sentence so dangerous it made timelines hold their breath. The words started bouncing around like contraband. Beyoncé, Diddy, and 50 Cent all in the same rumor, all in the same breath, all wrapped in that magic phrase the internet loves more than facts. Shocking evidence. Let's be clear right now, no charges, no confirmations, no official receipts, just claims, reactions, and the kind of insinuations that turn comment sections into courtrooms with no judges. But that never stopped a viral panic before, because once 50 Cent hints at anything, the internet treats it like a breadcrumb trail through a minefield. Screenshots started flying. Old interviews got dusted off like ancient scrolls. People replayed clips at half speed, convinced a pause, a laugh, or a look meant something else. And suddenly, this wasn't about what was proven, it was about what could be implied. This makes celebrity gossip look like child's play, because when Beyoncé's name even floats near a scandal, the internet doesn't ask questions. It freezes, then it explodes. And once that explosion starts, there's no rewind, only speculation, shock, and a lot of people pretending they didn't lean in closer. The moment the rumor surfaced, it didn't walk into the room, it kicked the door off its hinges. Because this wasn't just another celebrity side-eye moment. This was one of those whispers that makes people lower their volume and say, wait, who said that? The claim didn't come with paperwork or police reports. It came with insinuation, tone, and that uniquely internet-approved phrase, look into it. And that was more than enough to start a fire. Here's how it began. A comment, a repost, a caption that didn't accuse but suggested. And because the suggestion came from 50 Cent, the internet treated it like a smoke signal from someone who enjoys chaos a little too much to be ignored. He didn't spell anything out. He never does. He just nudged the conversation toward the cliff and let everyone else sprint. Within minutes, people started connecting dots that weren't even in the same constellation. Old award show photos, industry parties, shared stages, mutual acquaintances. Suddenly, proximity became proof. Familiarity became suspicion, and the loudest name pulled into the orbit was Beyoncé, a name so protected in pop culture that even rumors hesitate before saying it out loud. That's what made this explode. Not evidence, audacity. The audacity to even imply a connection. Because Beyoncé's public image isn't just clean, it's fortified, carefully curated, nearly myth. So when her name floated anywhere near the ongoing chaos surrounding Diddy, people didn't just react. They panicked. The background matters here. Diddy's name has already been living in uncomfortable headlines. And the internet has been operating like a true crime subreddit with a caffeine addiction. Everyone is suspicious. Everyone is connecting patterns. So when 50 Cent hinted that there was more to the story without naming names, people filled in the blanks with the biggest possible letters. First reactions were split straight down the middle. One side laughed it off immediately. Here we go again. 50 being 50. This is just trolling. The other side went full detective mode. Threads appeared overnight. People pulled interviews from a decade ago and treated them like prophetic warnings. Someone slowed down a red carpet clip and said, that look wasn't normal. And just like that, analysis replaced logic. The sarcasm online was brutal. If Beyoncé sneezed at a party in 2009, it's evidence now. Everyone in the music industry is apparently guilty by proximity. Jokes flew fast, but beneath the humor was unease. Because joking about a rumor doesn't erase it, it spreads it. What escalated the tension was the silence. No denial, no clarification, no acknowledgement. And silence, as always, was interpreted as everything at once. Strategic, legal, dismissive, suspicious. People don't understand silence online, so they weaponize it. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's history added gasoline. He's known for stirring the pot and walking away smiling. He's also known for being calculated, so fans argued endlessly over intent. Was this trolling for engagement? Was it a warning? Was it personal? Or was it just another moment of internet theater that went too far? The narrative didn't need answers to survive. It only needed curiosity, and curiosity was everywhere. Commentary channels jumped in cautiously, wrapping every sentence in allegedly while still leaning into the drama. Titles got louder, thumbnails got bolder, and with each retelling, the story stretched further from its origin and closer to mythology. What made this phase especially dangerous was how fast speculation hardened into assumption. People stopped saying what if and started saying remember when. That's the pivot point where rumors gain roots. Not because they're true but because they're repeated with confidence. Fans of Beyoncé pushed back hard. They pointed out the lack of evidence, the absurdity of guilt by association, the long history of powerful women being dragged into scandals they didn't create. Critics countered with questions aren't accusations, as if questions can still cause damage. And hovering over all of it was the uncomfortable truth that the internet loves nothing more than knocking icons off pedestals. The higher the image, the harder the fall. Even the suggestion of a crack draws a crowd out by the end of this first wave. The story wasn't about proof, it was about possibility. And possibility online is radioactive. It seeps into conversations, distorts perception, and lingers long after the original post disappears. The situation had officially crossed from rumor into narrative. And once a narrative exists, it doesn't need facts to keep moving, it just needs attention. The second the rumor survived its first day, it stopped being a whisper and became a sport. Not truth-seeking, not accountability. Sport timelines turned into stadiums, and everyone picked a seat based on vibes, not verification. The conversation didn't cool, it calcified, and once it hardens, nuance doesn't stand a chance. This is where the plot twisted, not with facts, but with reaction. Screenshots of 50-cent posts were passed around like classified documents. Every emoji became a Rosetta Stone. Every caption got parsed like a legal brief written by someone who majored in Twitter University. He didn't name names. He didn't have to. The internet did the rest, sprinting toward the loudest conclusion it could find. Memes detonated across platforms. Because when a rumor is too serious to confirm and too spicy to ignore, humor becomes the delivery system. Photoshops of red strings connecting faces on corkboards. Jokes about industry potlucks, where everyone somehow ends up in the same room. Laughs were loud, but the undertone was anxious. People weren't laughing because it was funny. They were laughing because it felt dangerous. Then came the pop culture comparisons. This felt like a season of a prestige drama where the writers decided to tease the downfall of an untouchable character without showing the crime. People compared it to fictional empires cracking from the inside. Two documentaries that start with glossy success and end with a courtroom sketch. Hyperbole, absolutely. Effective. Completely. Celebrity-adjacent reactions poured gasoline on the speculation. Not confirmations, not denials. Just the kind of vague quotes that feel like subtweets without the courage. Truth always comes out. Protect your peace. Stop believing everything you read. Each one got screenshot, reposted, and labeled "this is about it." Intent didn't matter. Timing did. The internet also did its favorite thing. Time travel. Old interviews of Beyoncé were dug up and reinterpreted with a suspicious lens they never had before. A laugh became calculated. A pause became telling. A gracious compliment got reframed as something darker. When you decide a story exists, everything becomes evidence, even kindness. Fans pushed back, loudly and relentlessly. They demanded receipts. They called out misogyny. They pointed out the dangerous habit of dragging powerful women into scandals because of proximity, not proof. And for a moment, it felt like reason might win. Then the algorithm reminded everyone that outrage outperforms logic by a landslide. The conversation ballooned beyond the original names. Suddenly, it was about the industry, about secret alliances, about who protects who, about how power really moves behind velvet ropes. Diddy's ongoing headlines acted like an expoundment, giving the rumor a pre-built context it didn't earn but happily used. Reaction videos multiplied. Some were cautious. Others went full sensational, stacking hypotheticals like facts and asking questions so loaded they answered themselves. Why would he hint if there was nothing there? Why hasn't anyone shut this down? Why does this feel familiar? Each question pushed the story forward without adding substance. The public outrage split into camps. One side said this was reckless slander, masquerading as curiosity. Another argued that powerful people should always be questioned. A third group didn't care either way, they were just here for the show. And the largest group, quietly scrolling, absorbing, and internalizing whatever narrative felt most compelling. What made this phase volatile was how the rumor became so. People weren't sharing the original claim anymore. They were sharing reactions to reactions. Commentary on commentary. It's a hall of mirrors where the original source disappears, but the reflection keeps multiplying. At some point, skepticism itself became suspicious. If you questioned the rumor, you were accused of protecting elites. If you believed it, you were accused of spreading lies. Protecting elites. If you believed it, you were accused of spreading lies. The middle ground evaporated, and once the middle is gone, chaos thrives. The wildest turn came when people started saying things like, even if it's not true, it says something. About what? Nobody could quite explain. But that sentence is internet alchemy, turning baseless speculation into moral indictment without evidence. It feels thoughtful. It's not. As the second wave crested, the rumor stopped feeling new and started feeling inevitable. Like everyone had already accepted that something must be there. That's when narratives become sticky. Not because they're proven, but because they've been emotionally rehearsed. And through it all, there was still no confirmation, no receipts, no smoking gun, just louder voices, sharper opinions, and a growing sense that the story had outgrown reality. By the end of this stretch, The question wasn't, is this true? It was, what does this do? 2 images, 2 legacies, to how quickly the internet can turn implication into indictment. And once that question takes over, the fallout is already in motion. The aftermath didn't explode, it settled in. Slow and heavy, like dust after a building collapses. Because once a rumor like this burns through the internet, what's left isn't clarity, it's residue. And residue sticks to everyone it touches, whether they asked for it or not. For Beyoncé, the impact wasn't immediate scandal, it was something more unsettling. Her name doesn't usually float in rumor cycles. It anchors eras. It defines standards. So even the suggestion of proximity to controversy felt jarring to fans. Like seeing a crack in something designed to be unbreakable. People didn't suddenly believe accusations, but they paused. And when the internet pauses on an icon, that pause speaks louder than outrage. The public conversation around her shifted subtly. Not hostile, not accusatory, just cautious. Think pieces replaced praise. Language softened from celebration to defense. Fans found themselves explaining why nothing needed explaining. And that's the quiet damage of implication. You're forced to respond to something that technically doesn't exist. For 50 Cent, the aftermath looked familiar. Chaos follows him like a shadow that pays rent. Some praised him for asking questions. Others accused him of reckless instigation. But regardless of intent, his role in igniting the narrative became part of the story itself. Once again, he proved that you don't need to make accusations to cause impact, you just need to aim curiosity in the right direction and walk away. And hovering over everything was Diddy, whose existing headlines acted like a gravity well. Even without new information, his name pulled speculation inward, giving the rumor a false sense of structure. Context became confirmation in the eyes of many, even though the two are not the same thing. Industry perception is where the real consequences live. Quiet conversations, recalibrated associations, not because anyone believed a specific claim, but because association with noise is a risk in itself. Brands don't panic, they hesitate, and hesitation is enough to slow momentum, even for artists at the top of the food chain. Fans felt the shift. Beyoncé's supporters went into full protective mode, not just defending her, but defending the idea that icons shouldn't be casually dragged into speculative storms. Critics pushed back with no one is above questions. And somewhere in between, the larger audience absorbed the story emotionally, even if they rejected it logically. The internet, meanwhile, moved on as it always does. New scandals arrived, new names trended, but this story didn't disappear, it archived itself. It became one of those references people casually drop months later. Remember when that rumor went around? And just like that, it lives again, stripped of nuance, detached from its origin. That's the real aftermath, not arrests, not revelations, but narrative permanence. Once something enters the collective memory, it doesn't need to be true to be remembered. It just needs to have felt big at the time. What this moment exposed wasn't a secret connection, it was a system. A system where implication outruns verification, where icons are fair game because of their size, where proximity becomes guilt, and where audiences mistake curiosity for responsibility. The most uncomfortable realization is this: the internet didn't uncover anything. It tested how far it could go without evidence, and learned it could go very far. The rumor didn't succeed because of proof. It succeeded because it aligned with a moment of distrust, fatigue, and appetite for spectacle. For Beyoncé, the storm passed, but storms leave marks. For 50 Cent, it was another reminder that words don't need weight to cause impact. For the audience, it was a mirror reflecting how quickly admiration can turn into suspicion with the right spark. And the story isn't truly over. It never is. Because every future headline, every unrelated controversy, every vague post will now be filtered through this moment by someone, somewhere, looking to connect dots again. That's the final twist. The scandal wasn't what was revealed, it was how easily the world was ready to believe. There was something to reveal. Alright, before you scroll off acting like this was just another rumor and not a masterclass in how fast the internet can spiral, let's lock in for a second, because if this story made you pause, rewind, or mutter, nah, hold up, then it already did its job, and so did you by watching. Now it's your turn. Drop your take in the comments. Was this reckless internet reach? Strategic chaos? A reminder that implication travels faster than truth? Or do you think people are finally questioning power the way they always should have? Don't sit there quietly judging, say it. The comment section is where the real debates happen, and some of y'all are one paragraph away from starting a civil war. Smash that like button like it just hinted at evidence and refused to show receipts. Every like tells the algorithm, yeah, this breakdown deserves to be seen. And don't lie if you made it this far. You're invested whether you admit it or not. Hit subscribe like you're securing your seat before the next headline detonates. Because scandals don't schedule themselves, rumors don't come with disclaimers, and the internet never waits for confirmation. When the next whisper turns into a wildfire, you're going to want the context. not just the chaos. This channel doesn't just repeat what's trending, we dissect why it trends, who benefits, and who gets caught in the blast radius. If it's messy, controversial, or makes celebrity culture look like a psychological experiment, it's landing right here, so stay sharp, stay skeptical, and remember, on the internet, silence gets interpreted, questions get weaponized, and speculation never clocks out. Welcome to Viral Trek, where the rumors run wild, and we track exactly how far they go.